Peace to everybody. This is about George Michael's family upsets fans by selling house he died in for $3.4 million. And as you know, George Michael has passed away on Christmas Day 2.5 years ago. He was found dead in his bed by his ex-partner, who has been arrested recently for wrecking George Michael's home as well. And of course, here's all the memoriam that the people had done for George Michael. It's a floral tribute to him. George Michael's house has sold for $3.4 million 3 years after the singer died there on Christmas Day. So his house was sold for $3.4 million. And of course, December 25th, it will be 3 years that he had passed away. It was bought by a couple last month, land registry documents show. So a couple bought the house, and I know there's going to be a lot of fixing up to do in the house after Fadi Fawaz has totally destroyed the house. At the weekend, coach loads of tourists were still visiting the 16th century property in Goring-on-Thames, Oxfordshire. So there was tourists still visiting the home. It's a 16th century property, so it's a very old house that George Michael had lived in for a very long time. And of course, George Michael loved that house so much. But the path outside was free from floral tributes after the former Wham! Star's family pleaded with fans earlier this year to stop leaving them there and at his home in Highgate, North London. So George Michael's family is telling the fans stop putting flowers there. I mean, because they don't want no more flowers coming there to his house. And of course, he was living in Highgate, North London. That's where George Michael was living at. And it's really sad that you got to tell these fans to stop putting flowers there. I mean, George Michael deserves a lot of attention, and he does deserve all these flowers. But with the family saying no more, then you got to respect the family. Lawyer John Reed, who acts for George's family and estate, said, "We can't confirm that we have now sold George's former home in Goring-on-Thames." So John Reed is the lawyer who acts for George's family and estate. He said that we can confirm that we have now sold George's former home. And it's really sad that people are going to be really hurt by his home being sold to a couple that had bought the house. And of course, here is George Michael himself. May he rest in peace. He died on Christmas Day in 2016, and of course, like I said, he was found dead in bed by his former partner, Fadi Fawaz. So, and it's really sad that he's gone. It was a place that he loved, not least for the privacy that it afforded him. So it was a place that he loved. And yes, George Michael loved that place so much. He had built his home the way he wanted it. He didn't care what other people think or anything, but it was privacy for him the way he wanted it. We would therefore kindly ask that the new owners have their privacy respected and are able to enjoy the property as he did. So the property for the new owners, they need to have their privacy as well, just like George Michael did. George Michael had a lot of privacy, and that's why he was a private person. After all he has done, I mean, he's done lots of music. I guess there's still some music that's not released yet. But, and it's okay. But, people are just really saddened that his house has been sold. The new family are thought to be local to the area. A neighbor confirmed they moved into Mill Cottage in the last 2 weeks. A woman who answered the door declined to comment. Of course, the woman did decline to comment because she has nothing to say to anybody. A neighbor confirmed they moved into Mill Cottage in the last 2 weeks, so it took them like 2 weeks to move into the house where George Michael had lived at. And of course, here is the tribute flowers that were for his home after he had passed away on Christmas Day. And it's really sad that he's gone, and of course everybody is going to miss him and think of him every day. George, 53, was found dead in his bedroom by partner Fadi Fazwaz on Christmas Day in 2016. And so Fadi Fazwaz has found George Michael deceased in his bedroom. And of course, George Michael was 53 years old at the time when he passed away. He had left $97.6 million in the bulk of his estate, including his houses to sisters Yayota and Melody. So Michael left houses to two of his sisters, and of course Fadi Fazwaz didn't get nothing at all. So this is why Fadi Fazwaz had went and destroyed the home. I mean, he tore everything up in that home: ceilings, toilets, sinks, bedrooms, kitchens, whatever you could think of. That's what Fadi Fazwaz has done. A Change.org petition urging George's family to turn the house into a museum got 2,500 signatures. Now that's a good idea. That is a good idea, to turn George Michael's home into a museum. I think that is a good idea, and it got 2,500 signatures. I really do believe that is a good idea, to make George Michael's home into a museum. Let fans see everything that he has done in that home. And of course, you know what Fadi Fazwaz, obviously, he had to go and destroy the home. Fans were divided over the house sale. Yesterday, Linda Allen said on a fan forum, "We met the lovely man that has bought the cottage. He has promised he will take good care of it." So there was fans that divided over the house sale. Linda Allen, she said on a forum that they met the lovely man that has bought the cottage, and she said that he promised he will take good care of it. So I don't know if they're gonna restore the way it was, or they're gonna turn it into something else, maybe to their own design instead of George Michael's design. I don't know. And of course, this is the view of the property that was, from the street. How can you not love this house at all? Wow. Dawn Terry said, "It's very sad. I was hoping for a museum of some sort to visit, and all monies raised go to George's charities." Yeah, so Dawn Terry says she's very sad, or it's very sad. I was hoping for a museum, and that's what she wanted, was a museum. And of course, all the monies raised go to George's charities. So I don't know what charities George Michael got himself into, but I'm pretty sure he did millions of dollars for it. Rosie Gula said, "Am I the only one who feels upset? His soul was in that house." And yes, his soul was definitely in that house. He has done everything wonderful. Another said, "It feels like we've lost George Michael once again." Yeah, so you got another person saying that it feels like we've lost George Michael again. But it doesn't have to be that way. George Michael can live in our hearts forever, because we know these singers from the 80s and that. Residents were previously said to be questioning whether fans should be allowed to hold an annual birthday party celebrating the late singer in the village. So, alright, so the residents, they previously said to be questioning whether fans should be allowed to hold an annual birthday party celebrating the late singer in the village. I would think it's a good idea, but who knows what's going to happen. I mean, if fans want to celebrate his birthday, then, you know what, I think it's a good idea, but who knows? Some claim the inappropriate celebration brought noise, litter, congestion, and drunken behavior. And of course, you know, all these drunks, they got to behave miserably. They're just mad because, you know, they didn't get to know him or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they must have known him from singing music and everything. In 2004, the singer invited U.S. TV star Oprah Winfrey for a tour around the house. So Oprah Winfrey, in 2004, she toured around the house, and I'm pretty sure she got a really nice reaction of how George Michael's house was. He said, "This is a 16th century house that I bought about 3 years ago and did up myself." So George Michael bought the house 30 years ago before his death, and of course it's a 16th century house. It's a very old house for being 16th century, and he did it himself, and he did it up himself the way he wanted it. But now with the new owners, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna redesign it or maybe restore it the way it was. Who knows with the new owners. Of the exposed beams, he added, of course it's really low ceiling because people were so short in those days. So yeah, of course, so he's saying of course the ceilings were low because people were short in those days, so it was for short people. This is about as English and hysterical as you can get. We kept all the original beams. This fireplace is the original fireplace. So yeah, so they kept everything the same. They kept the original beams. The fireplace is the original fireplace. So yeah, they just, George Michael had kept it the way he wanted it, the way it was before. But I'm pretty sure he did make some changes in the house as well, like lifting the ceiling up a little bit and doing everything else. George's Highgate property is reportedly being rented out, while his Regent's Park property in central London was being lived in by Fadi Fawaz, recently arrested after allegedly smashing it up. So George's Highgate property is reportedly being rented out right now. While his Regent's Park property in central London was being lived in by Fadi Fawaz, and of course, you know, Fadi Fawaz thought he was so slick, and it wasn't happening because Fadi Fawaz was arrested for smashing up the property, and it was just terrible for what Fadi Fawaz done to the house. And of course now he's got to find somewhere else to live. I don't know where, but he's got to go someplace because it won't be in that house anymore. So with the new owners that bought the house, yeah, I'm pretty sure Fadi Fawaz is going to go somewhere else though. Who knows where? Maybe a shelter or something. I don't know. Leave your comments below. I am out.